There we go.
Hello, welcome to the Live Reality Games podcast. Here we are to discuss Survivor Maryland's finale. I'm here today with Naomi. And Naomi, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm dumb as a rock, and I can't wait to break it all down.
I couldn't find a Sharpie, the right idiot on my hand. However, we are with the one, the only, the Dale Aram. How are you doing?
Hi guys, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Well, we're stoked you're here. It was not gonna lie, it was a whirlwind of a finale. I don't think any of us could have predicted the outcome of this season, especially with all our. I mean, I don't know. There's so many ways I was wrong this season, and I'd never guess this outcome. However, you were amazing this finale. You were on fire. Like your jury speech was passionate and hilarious. Can you what was the inspiration behind the idiot hand?
I just with the confessionals with Anders and just my feelings, I was like, idiot, 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 idiot. That's all I kept saying. And I was like, I just got to let him know, maybe I don't know. I just had to be sassy and was like, we can't fight, but we can roast like that.
Hi, Anders. Well, I think my favorite part of this whole experience was watching you go from just letting other people sort of, we saw Eric basically run in, slam the door, I have a way to keep us all safe. And you're like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
From that to in the final five being like, what are you guys doing? I thought it was a great sort of overall arc of you coming to life on screen. And I think people were sleeping on Dale Aram early, and they woke the fuck up in this finale. But I will say, Steven, you're wrong. I was literally in the YouTube comments saying it's going to be a tie and someone's going to break. I thought Tim was going to have to break the vote, but I was wrong.
Yeah, I was literally saying for a 4-4 revote with Tim having to cast the breaking vote. That would have been perfect world, but this is pretty good still.
So when you were in this final five, because you lose Angie, what were you thinking? I can only imagine how sort of, I don't know, this fucking sucks that must have felt. But is there anything that you were in particular thinking about, maybe how to get your way out of it or get Doug out at any point in time?
For sure. At that point, I was like, okay, it's me or Dane, because these three guys just love each other. Tim just proved that. He's pressed on Doug. So yeah, I knew I was at the very bottom, and I was like, okay, Dane and I are in the minority. I can't really team up with him. So that's when I met up with Santi and Tim, being like, hey guys, this is our moment. This is our moment to blindside, Doug, who you've been working with this entire time. And yeah, I really thought the homies would, stick to their word after the diner when we were talking. They were like, yeah, that sounds good. But then I apparently got to them, and then Doug was, they had their whole moment, and then they came back being like, actually, we're going to stick together. It was pretty disappointing, but yeah, I don't know. I thought I did what I could have done. I really don't know what else I could have said. I couldn't have gone back in time and messed around with their friendship. So yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to go all the way back to freshman year, destroy their floor, get them separated. The works.
Right. I do want to mention that because I've watched the finale a couple times to just process it. And Anders has mentioned this. He also mentioned the live chat, and also I think Doug himself asked me dude, if you knew we were all friends, why didn't you get us out sooner? And I think my answer at the time was I don't know, and I guess I still don't know. But yeah, I just feel like if I'd made a big move like that, getting one of those three guys out, I would have had a target on my back. That's my only defense. I just feel like a lot of people felt that way, and they were just, so up top. So that's it. Good for them for finessing, getting all the way there, but silly me. And
you made the move at the final six, right? And you nearly caught You nearly caught Doug with his pants down with 3 idols in his pocket, or 2 idols. Like Fonzie had one.
His pants were down because idols were weighing them down too much. Get a belt, Doug.
Oh my god. I'm also sad for thinking he only had 2. I kept being like 2, and he's like, it's 3.
I mean, what was your reaction when you're watching the series and you see him and you realize, oh, he actually had like when you see that he grabs the 3rd idol? I mean, what's going through your head when you're watching this in the show?
I'm just like, Dali, you are so like simple and naive. I mean, good for him. Like literally, like if I were him, I would not, have trusted me. I don't know. Like we had a pretty good friendship, but some things like it was a little white lie. He didn't mention all of them, I guess. But yeah, walking back, I'm like, or watching it now, I'm like, damn, Deli, you're so simple. Like, I don't know. I do regret not like making moves or just like forming more friendships with the other tribe sooner. I was just like I was chilling in my own, I was kind of making the friends. I was like with Sadie and Doug, and I was like, okay, like I'm up there. So like later when I was rewatching and Santi's like, Dale Aram, like you haven't talked to anyone, you haven't talked to me. I'm like, true, but you haven't talked to me either. So two-way street.
Well, this brings us, I think, into a great segue, which is one of our favorite questions to ask everyone, as it was required by the queen herself. What do you think of Teresa? What do you think of Teresa?
Oh, God. Yo, I really think Teresa's a fine gal. Like, I follow her on the social medias, and like, looking back, I don't know why I roasted her so badly. I was just like, physically, like she is a PT major. She's an athletic girl. Yes, she is a very athletic woman, but I don't know why I was like just out to get her. Literally on the basis of nothing. Like that's the embarrassing part. Like she literally did nothing to me, and I was like, I need her out now. So I think like maybe she could have cut me off once, and I was like,
and that's it.
Yeah. That's my bad.
So all the way back, I kind of want to time travel back to the start of the game.
Sure.
Were you the one that got Abby the apply with you? Did Abby get you the apply for Survivor Maryland? Was it like you both mutually applied separately and figured like, hey, we're doing this? How did that happen?
Yeah, I had a friend do it. I had Evan Hying do it from a previous semester. So I think I applied. And then I just came back to the interview to our room, and Abby's like, "What's up?" And I was like, "Oh, I just like applied for Survivor. Do you want to do it?" She's like, "Okay." Like that's it. And then I don't know. I think I sent her Andrews's info, and that's it.
Do you ask Evan for any? We're finding a theme of people being friends with the players from All Stars, not asking any advice of the players from All Stars. So did you also carry down this route?
I actually did not also get any advice. Yeah, I did not take advantage of asking Evan about what to do, what not to do.
So with you and Abby both rolling into the season with each other, you probably have an idea you might start in opposite tribes. Did you have did you have like some general strategy or plan of what you wanted to do, or you're like, hey, we'll just wing it and figure out things from there?
I think you got to see it. It was a lot of winging it, if you could tell. I just knew like Abby's my girl, and that I'd look out for her. But since we were on different tribes for the first half, it didn't really like matter as much.
Mm-hmm. It's final 6. Abby has at least 1 idol, maybe 2, and it's just a 3-3 tie, and you have a choice to vote her out or to draw rocks for Abby, and you think Abby might have a shot to win the game. What do you do?
I do not go to rocks. I use my brain. And I'm like, yo, you're a threat. Goodbye. Love you still. I'll, kiss you goodnight. But like, I'm not going to go to rocks for you, sis.
I wish there's so many good episode titles, like, but I'm not going to go to rocks for you, sis, is like, if only that was in the episode. Perfect. I
Love
also
you,
got really
like rocks love you, you know.
I got really confused when you were talking, Steve, and I was like, Abby wasn't at the final six. Did I miss something? I was very lost for a second.
We're in a hypothetical Survivor Maryland world here. I'm sorry.
You say that, I was like confused. Well, I think part of this season was just like the chaos of Eric and then Eric getting voted out. When Eric was pulling this huge move to get rid of Chris, and you and Dane are just kind of sitting there looking at him like he's like like when like 9-year-olds want to tell you about this like great idea they've come up with, and you're just like, okay, great, you're gonna do it. Thank you. That's what you guys looked like. What were you thinking? And did you and Dane talk like together about like, are we really gonna go with this guy? He's crazy, right?
True. Looking back, yeah, sure, he's crazy, but Eric is a mastermind. He is king. Like we all like Eric saved me that night. Eric used his advantage on me. So yeah, I just like really looked like a fool being like, whatever. I don't remember really talking with Dane too much outside of me, him, and Eric. Sorry, I kind of hear myself in the background, I think. Let me turn up. But yeah, Eric really hooked it up for me.
He did, and we were pumped when this move happened. Don't get us wrong. We were like, yes, they're going with it. You guys looked like you were terrified to go with it.
Yeah, definitely.
What's interesting is after this, we end up having that kind of joint tribal council with players from both tribes. And this is where Dane's like, I need to get Eric out. I want to target him. What was your thought process on like saying, well, Eric saved us, but let's like he's yesterday. Let's go move on with life.
Yeah, that was just me being a bitch. But also like kind of doing what was like easiest for me, you know. I was like, okay, Dane can handle that. Like if I'm good, I did betray him. I did really screw him over. But yeah, I was like, Dane, you handled it. Like, you know what you're doing.
Well, we see you really go from here, and you end up making really tight relationships with Doug and Sadie as a result of this. Like, had those been in the works, or those kind of formed at that point?
No, I like clicked with both Doug and Sadie the first day. I just remember like I gravitated towards them. I think when we all were walking from one part of campus to like, I think the diner where we're all just like, oh, like let's get to know each other. I just kind of like merged with them kind of, and yeah, we hit it off. So we just kind of had this like loyalty and allegiance to each other just based on like vibes. Not really much gameplay, just more like, hey, you're cool.
Yeah. And as Eric saved Dale, they repaid him by not advocating for him to survive the next round. To be fair, we were both much more upset with Dane in this moment than with Dale Aram.
I lay this all on Dane's feet.
Wait,
I think this is the moment where I said Dane doesn't matter, which was not nice to me.
Really painted Dane as saying like, I'm mad at Eric. I think he was, I don't know, bossy or came off wrong. I want to be the villain. I want to have the one control here. I don't want him to have the one control here. So he just like beelines against Eric, and it's just like, oh, that's not what I would do.
Right.
I think we were just rooting for because Doug was so clearly the mastermind from the start that we were like, anybody who is going against him. I think I must have flip-flopped like 20 times. So I was like, I don't like Dane. Oh, Dane's going against Doug. I like Dane. Oh, he's not. I don't like Dane. Back and forth. Which I'll admit, look, I'm a fake fan. I'll be the first one to admit it. And when I think the other sort of big things that were happening. Oh my gosh, I don't have my notes up. Dale Aram, which tribe were you on in the swap? Were you on Santi's tribe or Doug's tribe? You're on Doug's, right?
Doug's tribe.
Yeah, and so you are kind of brought closer to Doug and Sadie in this moment too, right? You guys all get to gather on the same swap tribe. Did you feel like you were making decisions with them when you guys eventually had to go to tribal council? Just I'll go to my notes.
Yeah, to be honest, no, because for most of the time since Sadie was there, this is like embarrassing to think about, 4 years later, but Sadie really carried me. So I was just kind of like, hey team, what's going on? And then like do this. I'm like, okay, true. I mean, I would maybe pitch an idea, but again, as we were talking, like I don't know. I think Sadie, she was like not as like, I don't know, like I compare Sadie and Doug. They were both very like powerful. Maybe like Doug was like, in the production was like produced to be a little bit more like villainous or just more like ho ho ho. But I don't know, like Sadie really was carrying a lot of how the game worked. So I feel like if I had something like, oh, actually no, I don't think so, that would have backfired for me for sure.
And you have some pretty big blind sides in here. You have the Mike and the Liam blind sides.
Yeah.
Although Mike knew.
Yeah, he had no idea what was going on.
That was a sad time. It was mean and bad vibes.
Yeah. Did you at any point like? I guess it's interesting to see people who are. I don't know how familiar you were with Survivor, but like people who aren't intentionally mean to people, or you're not voting people out of friend groups every day and sort of being exclusive as the game of Survivor provokes. Like, were you having a hard time reconciling with playing this game, or were you just kind of like, oh, whatever, I'll see them at the reunion?
Yeah, I think for some people, it was the latter. It was just like, hey, like it's whatever, because I didn't really have a tight bond with Mike during the game. I really like him, but it was no hard feelings. But when it came to like, I don't know, kind of going towards Doug, I was like, whoa, like I'm actually really tight with him. And so going against, I don't know, like I know, like even though I wanted to get him out, I was like, I still love you, man. But with some other people who I wanted to get out, I was like, we're cool. Like nothing really changes in our friendship.
Well, one thing that was interesting is I believe at the vote where Liam's blindside, you don't tell Abby what's up. And I think you have to apologize and talk to her afterwards. And I think what we say, it's like need to know, or you want to protect her and protect her by not telling this information. How did you navigate kind of like this, like this is your roommate and you're having to lie to her and deal with the fallout? Can you talk a little about that?
Yeah, that was pretty cringe. She was just like, dude, are we not on like the same page? And I'm like, oops. But yeah, I just feel like if Abby knew going into that vote what we had planned, then she'd just feel like really upset. So that was kind of me protecting her on the same vibe, like, because she was really tight with Mike. Mm-hmm. So I think it would have been like kind of how I compared it to me and Doug, like that level of tightness. So I think it's, because Mike would be so upset. He'd be like, Abby, you knew, but then she didn't. So it was less harsh.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you never want to, like, if there's a chance that Mike is the idol, you never want to scare him to the point of playing it.
That's true.
Oh my gosh. Because did you ever go look for the idol? That's what I just have to ask. Did you ever go look for it?
No. That's another regret I had. I'm like, why did you not? No comment. I'm just stupid.
Apparently nobody could find it. So I feel like without a clue, without any prior knowledge, it'd probably be like even more of a bitch to find. Even like not knowing where any of it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Steven, like, what were you gonna say?
I was just wondering, is there ever a world where you somehow flip and vote with Abby, Mike, and Liam? Is that ever something you would have contemplated doing, or you'd rather have Abby come to you?
I think there could have been. I just think it was just really simple for me to do it the other way. Yeah, I really wonder how that would have turned out. But that since they were the part of the different tribe earlier, I barely like talked to them. But I knew Liam from like outside or pre-Survivor or something. So yeah.
Well, come Burge, you end up forming this really strong trio with you, Sadie, and Abby. And one thing that's interesting, everyone knew about it. Like even before we actually see, I think the three of you in a room together, we see everyone's like, "Oh man, Sadie, Dale Aram, and Abby, we need to think about it. We have to be worried about this." And like I think at least for us, it was kind of surprised, like, "Oh wow, this is a thing." Like when did that really click together, the three of you?
I guess we didn't like record this part, but like I was really tight with Sadie, and I like Abby's my girl. She's also my roommate, so like I don't know. I think it would like a lot would be through text, or like a lot of just would be like late at night, me being like Abby, like this is what me and Sadie talked about or something, right? So yeah, I just think we didn't do the best job of recording it, but I think like pretty close to merge, I'd say. You know, we're on the same vibe. Like we know what's going on in each other's Survivor games.
Well, what ends up being kind of a problem is that you need Doug to come with you, right? Because you have Josh, you're like, hey, Doug, you and Santi, and then we'll have a 5 with us, you and Santi. And Doug and Santi end up not really wanting to do that. And end up, I think they vote out Josh, then Sadie goes home, then Abby goes home.
Okay.
Do you think there's something that maybe you could have done to help change that around?
Definitely. But I don't know. I think like because I like remember this so well. Like the 5 of us had a group chat together. I forget what it was called. It was like maybe like roomies, but like Sadie was included in that, and like
Sadie.
Something like that. Yeah, I think like the emoji showed like a 3, and like that was me, her, and Abby. But yeah, I wish I you know blah, 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 advocated more for like, hey, let's direct it towards Dane or just, you know, not my people. Yeah, I'm just like, I just thought about a world where like the 5 of us are the last, and I'm like, oof, that would have been spicy.
That feels like that meme where it's like the utopia. It's like if these guys make the final 5.
Well, I think if the final 5 was Abby, you, Sadie, Santi, and Doug, someone's getting idled out, and it's not gonna. I think it'd be very ugly for you or Abby, I imagine.
Totally, I agree, Steven.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so crazy that Doug had 3. It's just like I still can't understand.
Oh, I know. Good for him, I guess.
Yeah, congratulations, Doug. We're all rooting for you. So
I'm like, Doug must go, but I'm also like, yo, good job.
Well, I think that's it's interesting because I think what Doug actually does is Doug doesn't he doesn't really show off the success he's had, and he kind of more is like, I'm so sorry, you guys, especially after this whole Sadie text thing. Was when you were going into Final Tribal, like you get voted out, these guys do whatever weird emotional man bonding they do of voting, keeping them all in. What were your initial thoughts? Did you think, okay, I'm definitely voting for someone, or were you like, all right, fine, listen to all of them, but I hate them all and they're all dumb? But what?
No,
what were your emotions?
Yeah, I went in like, F them, beep 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 them. Like I don't know. I really had my mind made up. After like Santi and Tim going behind their word, I was just like, okay. And I have watched actually more than twice on this finale, and I see the frustration with Tim and Santi, and they're like, dude, hear us out. And I'm like, no. I have no regrets on, because I was just so hurt. And I was like, why should I hear you out when you didn't hear me out? Or if you did, it was like fake, or I don't know. It just didn't really add up. So I was just, again, I mentioned this in the Final Tribal Council. I was just like really impressed. I was like, damn, Doug, you did this, like, king. I was really shocked that the other tribal, the jury members, besides Abby and Sadie, didn't vote for Doug. That was like really shocking.
Do you think the texting had anything to do with that, or is it more that? Yeah,
for sure. For the moment, there's just like so much going on. Also, it was like filmed so like back to back. It was like not enough time to process anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you guys like literally Trump is elected. It's like, okay, we're gonna keep playing Survivor.
Dude, that day sucked. I just cried all day, and I was like, great. It was a chaotic semester.
Distinct memories of like walking into college the day before, being like, everything's gonna be great tomorrow. See you guys, and then coming back and being like, nobody touched me.
Yeah, literally. Our dorm room was not good vibes that day. Damn.
No.
So at Final Tribal Council, so you kind of felt like you already were locked in on which direction you want to go. You said like you felt very hurt and betrayed by Tim and Santi going behind you, and so that really led you voting for Doug. And also, you've kind of talked about like you think Doug played a pretty fantastic game, right?
Yeah.
Was there anything that they could have said to try to persuade you at that point? Like, what could have changed your mind? Like, if they actually said, "I'm an idiot" first thing off, and the one word described himself, would that like, all right, that does it for me?
No, that was like the bare minimum. I'm like, okay, great. Like, like self-awareness is lit. But honestly, no. And like, I think Santi had I literally was so mad, y'all. I didn't even listen to them. Like watching this back, I was like, oh, you did that? Like, okay, cool. I was just my mind was so set up. I just wanted to roast because I was like, I don't know, I wanted to.
Abby brought it, so we got the roast.
What's up?
You and Abby did bring the roast, so it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I really don't know about Tim. I was just like, Tim, you really brought us the rocks out here. Like, you let Doug's like, minor comment or like little death threat, little death threat. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I was like really mad at Tim, but with Santi, I guess he did like explain his game to me very calmly. And looking back on it, I'm like, okay, fair, but I'm also not like, oh, okay, like anything for you. I don't know. I was just like, I'm mad. Screw you. Screw your game.
Well, and that's what I thought was interesting is watching the cognitive.
Andrews.
Yeah, like the Andrews commentary, man.
Oh. I know. I regret it. It's cringe. Sorry to interrupt, Naomi.
No, it's fine. College. It's college. What am I gonna do? Play Survivor like a dork? Not me. Certainly not me for the past several years. But I think that what I thought was really interesting was Tim trying to get over the sort of hurdle of like nobody respecting what he was doing and just getting so mad. It felt like that meme of like the person taking the stick and putting it in their own tire.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But I thought Tim, like, in a different world explains his game better, but I really think you guys were making him almost upset to the point where he couldn't handle explaining his game. And it is a really interesting cognitive dissonance when he talks in confessionals about like, I'm doing awesome, I'm owning this game. And Doug's like, I have 3 idols, and we have to sit here and be like, well, I think someone is owning the game a little harder, but
oh god.
Go off, King.
Yeah. Watching back, I'm like, damn, that was just mean. I don't know. It's some of it was well deserved. Some of it was like, okay, Dale Aram, like you could have stopped. But also I wanted to say, train of thought. Andrews is like, haha, this girl.
Yeah, Anders, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to.
Shoot. Wow, this is embarrassing, but maybe it'll come back to me. I'll let you know. It was something along the lines of like roasting the boys.
I have another hypothetical for you.
Sure.
What if at the final 4 that vote ends up being 2-2, either Santi or Tim, one of them stays with you and one of them votes against you, so you end up going to a face-off challenge against Doug? Would you be feeling as betrayed?
Oh, so if it's rocks and then it's Santi and Tim who have to vote?
Yeah, so let's say Santi votes with you against Doug, and then Tim and Doug vote against you. You don't do rocks. You don't do rocks. You instead would go straight to a challenge against Doug to see who would stay.
Oh, okay.
How would, and let's say you still lose and Doug ends up in the final 3. Like, would you still be furious at Santi or Tim at this point? Would you be more willing to hear them out potentially?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, I'd definitely be more willing to hear them out because that was, I don't know, because
it's an attempt. It's an attempt.
I think the answer is like, I'd be less furious, but I'd still be pretty salty. Like, why would you? I'm getting out of the hypothetical, but I'd also be like, why would you still vote me out and not Doug for your open game?
Did you help Abby with her slam at all, or did you have any idea that was coming? Or
no, we all talked about it. Like, I think me, Sadie, and Abby all were like talking about it. They definitely helped me. No, Abby does not need help with the slam. Abby is so
Right.
savage. She's queen. I think
Brutal.
yo, there's some parts that were edited out, and I'm so glad they were, because what I said was just like rude. Like, if you thought that was savage, yours is like one line. I'm gonna just say it because YOLO. But
one hand, one says idiot, the other one says fuckhead. Like, it's like okay.
Something similar to fuckhead. I was like, this is so mean. Anders, thank you so much for editing this out. I was like, Tim Santi, you should like wipe all this shit all over your nose because you're so far up Doug's ass.
Oh no.
I think that was not an original Dale Aram comment. I think the homegirls had to help me out, but I was just very confident saying, I was like, I can say this. Oh yeah. True, we gotta get these to a nice golden roast, Anders. We can't be like,
I mean,
Anders getting his revenge for something.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We had the same problem with our 2-day game finale where somebody was talking forever and we were like, I'm so sorry, but this game is for no money. Please wrap it up.
Oh, true.
This game is for fake points.
People be butthurt, so that's funny.
So we got a preview for next season, and one of the things I'm actually kind of sad I'm not going to see you come play, because I feel like if you would to play again, you would be the Dale Aram we saw in like the episode before the finale and the finale. I feel like you would be that all season long.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely was like pretty amped up after the season. I was like, okay, like this is how we play this game. Like, let's go. But personally, I took the semester off that next semester, so I couldn't have.
Gotcha.
But yeah, thank you. That means a lot, Steven. But yeah, I think if I didn't take that semester off, it would be game over for some homies.
I felt that when you said in the finale where you were like, it took me this long, but I finally did it. That was me. I was like, I'm gonna take my sweet ass fucking time finishing this college degree.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll get my money when I feel like it.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Oh, is there anybody that you were excited that you heard was playing again that you were excited to see? Because we have from your season, we have Mike, Morgan. Oh God, who else? Doug is back. Like, were you excited about any of these returners? Eric. I mean,
yeah,
Morgan.
I was excited for Eric. Cause yeah, he knew all along. We were just like not galaxy brain enough for this man. He knew all along. And I was excited how Doug would play out. I was wondering if he'd take the same approach. Cause yeah, he made it very close. True, Anders.
Anders is so mean.
Anders is savage, but no, I love that man. It's okay.
But you and Anders
all-stars though. That's not shameful at all.
One of my favorite moments, I think, in the whole season is just every challenge, like you talking to Anders while like being like, "Oh yeah, I'm in last," and like being like, "I got the dub, I did it." Like all of the I think what I want more than anything is like the Dale Aram in challenges highlight reel of like 69 and run away. Like that was the funniest part of the whole season. Anytime the camera was near you.
That's also another cringe thing. I'm like, why do you try hard? Like, especially the last one. I mean, Bolo is just not my thing.
You should have gotten Morgan lessons.
I know. Also, so after watching this season, I was like, whoa, more, because I barely interact with Morgan. So I understand why everyone stands Morgan. I stand her too. So I'm excited for her to this next upcoming season. I guess I'm excited for everyone just because they could play the same exact game or they could not. So we'll see.
I remember something in the finale I want to ask you about. At the very beginning of the finale, where they're kind of doing the intro into all the final players, every single shot of you is you eating food.
I know, it's so bad.
Is that just whenever you filmed, you would just always be eating, or is that Anders taking a shot at you?
Both, but more meat. And friends who didn't do Survivor, a couple of them have watched the season, and they're like, or I've in front of them been like, why am I eating? Like, why couldn't I waited? And I think I am.
According to Anders, you're always eating. That's the reason.
One, girl's got to eat because if she's gonna eat these boys alive, like she needs fuel. But two, but also, I was very stupidly busy. This was my sophomore year of college, and I was like really busy with all these extracurriculars. So I think like freaking strategizing with other people was my time to like chill. And I think that's a reason also why I didn't wasn't as involved pre-merge, because I was just like doing all the things. And yeah, that's something if like fifth year Deli did instead, it'd be different. I'd be all in Survivor.
Are you teasing us for a comeback season?
What'd you say?
Are you teasing us that you're going to be in a future season? Fingers crossed.
I don't know. We'll see.
Dale Aram is literally always busy, says Anders. Anders, you have to drop if there's anything we haven't talked about yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there's a fun secret scene that never made it. But I mean, that's relatable though. All I did at college was like eat and like use the bathroom and leave the campus. Like I didn't do anything.
Right. Wait, did y'all play your college Survivor or like online?
UCLA doesn't have one. Makes me sad.
Where'd you go?
So I did my undergrad at UCLA. I'm doing my PhD at Texas A&M. Neither schools were cool enough to have a PhD program, but I've played other live Survivor games, just not college ones.
Okay, yeah, very cool.
Because they're part of where this community comes from is like there's all these people who play Survivor over weekends and like sometimes weeks if they're crazy enough. And so we've done that, and it's been a trip. And luckily, it's not 80 days of like buried emotion into like one game. But you know, it's people's feelings get hurt still. You know, it's not not uncommon.
That's right.
I mean, when you're living with someone in the woods for 7 days, things get intensely personal at Final Tribal Council still.
Wait, have y'all done one of those?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's cool until everybody starts to smell, and then it's not cool. Actually,
you're all about that. Maybe we can do. Oh God. Oh yeah.
STD.
I did.
Aram had crutches in episode 2, 3, potentially from Steal the Bacon.
Yeah, I got like, I think it was Angie. She like banged this. Someone kicked this shit out of my knee.
Was that Liam and his cleats?
No, I didn't go against Liam. Sorry, not knee, shin. I remember, and I think like Anders texted me. He was like, are you on? Because I didn't tell him. It was a very short term. I don't know. Like I think I borrowed crutches from a friend or something. And then he was like, are you okay? I was like, no. Apparently, like a crew member noticed and was like, hey, Anders, Dale Aram is on crutches. Yeah, I forgot about that. Good times.
I also wanted to say that Anders has also done one of those in the woods games, but I don't know if he's ever talked about it with you guys.
I think I have.
I know.
And yeah, I have not asked him about it, but like I know he's done several of these things.
We're gonna air your shit out, Anders, just like you're doing stuff around. Well, when you start like Steal the Bacon is such an intense challenge. Was there a part of you that was very competitive in the challenge? And like I guess because when you join Survivor, it's usually like, oh, do I want to vote people out? I don't know, let's see how it goes. Maybe this will be fun. But then you play these challenges where it's like someone's gonna kick your ass, and it's like, whoa. Were you excited about the competition, or were you like, I do not want this. I want to do dominoes.
Yeah. I'm not a fan. I don't know. I'm not that physically like. I don't know. I'm not that swole. I was really daunted. I was like, shoot, I especially don't want to go against like the stronger girls. But
Abby.
I think my.
Were you scared to go against Abby potentially?
For sure.
If you live with Abby, you're like, oh fuck, she's gonna fuck me up. No, thank you.
It's like a weird setting. Just like I don't know, getting like beat up by your roommate.
My favorite part of the pre-merge was just Abby steamrolling every person, every head-to-head challenge. It's just like it was just a loss if you're up against Abby.
Abby's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, it was spooky. I was like, is this what we got to do all semester? But luckily, it was not that physical for all of them. So.
Did you have any reaction to the theme of like, you know, like were you like, oh shit, I'm with them to STEM majors, F this, or were you kind of excited?
True. I think I mentioned it. I was like, yeah, I'm a STEM major, but like, what the fuck does that mean? I don't know. I just think like people put such hierarchy on stupid stuff. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm a STEM major, but I know all these humanities people are just as smart. So, like, it was a very creative idea, but I wasn't like, oh, I'm STEM, like I am superior. That's really lame. So.
Do you have any favorite moments of the season, or maybe things that didn't end up on the show?
Ooh, that is a good question. I like don't remember honestly.
It was 4 years ago, as we say, it was 4 years ago.
But I think Andrew's pitted me up, you know,
Well, this is, I think, a great point. When you have this talk with Angie, it was like, I feel like it was like watching everything we had wanted to happen finally happen. What led you to say, fuck it, I'm going to go with Angie and Dane after like never speaking to Angie?
Okay, one, I had nothing to lose because I was like, I'm about to go out, or like, if not this one, the next tribal council. But also, looking back, hella cringe. I am like team Angie should have like freaking won. So yeah, I'm very embarrassed that I didn't reach out to her sooner. But again, like, oh, thanks, Wale. It is a little sweet, but yeah, I'm so glad Homegirl reached out to me. I was like, yes, anything you say, you're awesome. We're the only two women left. And Naomi, I do appreciate your comments on just like validating women. That's really cool. I like honestly didn't like pay attention to that because I was in it, and then you're like, you know, you're seeing it.
It totally happens, and I think people like to clown on Amanda a little bit this season for, you know, voting out women. And it happens, and sometimes you don't see it. And I think Amanda talked a little bit about it in her exit interview, which is really like an enlightening way of looking at how Amanda felt. But it was like this great moment. I think going into the finale, it would have been just like a complete like drag if you guys didn't have this sort of like moment of like, you know, even though Angie goes out from rocks, it is still like a great moment of like, oh my God, this could happen. Something could shake. Like, and at the very least, you literally see like Doug like about to piss himself. Like, and it was worth it. The terror on Doug's face alone is like hysterical in that moment. So it's all right. It works out in the end. And I think, you know, no matter what, we still had like this cast of amazing, like the cast is amazing. All these amazing diverse women that sort of, you know, people are going to go home when they're going to go home and it happens, but we still had at least we didn't like reach the final five and there were no women. Like we had one thing going.
Right. I also just want to say, I mean, I think this is obvious, but I just feel, I know we all felt this, like I felt so bad for Angie because she was the one who was like, let's do this, and then it backfired her, and I'm like, sis, it could have been anyone else, but why'd it have to be you? Like, why couldn't it have been?
The game would have been completely different if Santi goes home with one of Doug's many idols in his pockets, right? That could have
been crazy.
Still would have been bad come Final Five, but it would have opened things up for a much better Final Four.
Totally.
Did you guys ever consider voting for Doug in that moment? Just to, sorry, not Doug, voting for Santi because Doug is a little bit more of a scaredy cat. Did that ever kind of cross your mind?
No, because I was so like anti-Doug, and he was also like, what the hell, Dale Aram? Like, you're supposed to be a sheep still. Like, why do you have opinions? So I didn't even consider that. But even now I don't think I would have. He was not it. Yeah, I don't see how that would have been. I don't know where that would have been. True.
And saying it. Perfect world is Doug goes home, then we get a final three of Santi.
I feel like somebody said I feel like the timeline we are in might be close to a darker timeline. Just I don't know. Just the way the final went down, I don't think I can ever rewatch it. I mean, I've refused to watch.
Wow.
I refuse to watch the season 3 finale.
Wait, I'm sorry, Stephen. What did you just say?
Oh, the way the season progressed with we see Santi and Tim go to the end with Doug the way it is, and the jury, probably rightfully so, is upset and angry. Mm-hmm. Right? It's going to be hard for me to ever watch it again, and I like. But then again, I'm the delicate flower. I can't even watch seasons 3 Final Tribal Council with Feluke just because I know it ends so poorly for her, and I just cannot. I don't want to sit there for it.
Yeah, I'm a skipper. I'll just skip the good parts. So I'll bounce around the finale again. Because it is.
I'll stop for you and Abby and your takes, and I'll just move on from there.
Oh, man. So,
which I appreciate. I mean, it's. I mean, this entire season, did you think Doug was the villain when you were playing with him, or was it only till you were watching? You're like, oh man, this guy.
Yeah, because as you can see, all of our things are like, oh, love you. I mean, I genuinely did love him, but in the game we were still like, love you, make up, kiss, kiss. I don't know which one I'm thinking of specifically. I think it was the one where I'm eating mac and cheese.
I mean, Anders, if Doug had said, yes, I used Santi and Tim on purpose to get here, my gosh. If we just saw their friendship break in that moment, that would have been...
Yeah. If we saw Doug be like, yes, I used Jasmine for one date, I think that would have been great, too. And actually, Swally has a great question for you, Del, about, who else would you have worked with if you... Let's say you talked to the other tribe. Who would you want to work with?
Definitely Angie. I think Morgan. I think we would have been very sassy together. I think she would have awoke, brought the sassiness in me that I didn't know about. Who else? I know Ivy. Okay, this is just bias now because I know Ivy from we got we became really good friends. Or we went on a couple trips together post Survivor, and I was like, wait, you could have been so cool to work with. Honestly, the answer to that is everyone that wasn't on my tribe. And I mean, I don't know. I think I do regret not talking to people sooner, but I think if I did, I could have put a target on my back. That's the lazy answer in me. I'm just this was my plan all along. But no, it just worked out for me that way. So yeah, who knows?
It's interesting because I think I wonder if you and Abby, if you guys get together, if the threat of roommates suddenly there is a threat of roommates and you guys get a target on your back, just because it's that seems to be the way things go. People are going to vote out Sadie and you and Abby because you guys are threats, but they're not going to vote out Doug and Santi. And I wonder why that is. And
true.
And so I'm curious that maybe kicking it off a little, if you had kicked off a little harder pre-merge, if they would have been we got to split Abby and Dale Aram up. That's just obvious. It could be a bad decision, Anders. So stop clowning on Dale Aram. She tried her best.
Oh my god. No, yeah.
I like Anders' other question here. Looking at your original Pascala tribe, if you could make your own dream alliance of those players, who would you choose? And you know everything about them because you watch the show. Let's say you go back in time. It's day one. You know everything. You know Doug's potential. What is your dream team?
Definitely Eric. Definitely. He was so calculated and he knew everything that was going on and going down. I'm blanking. Honestly, you know what? Let's say Natalia. We didn't even get to see that queen play. What did Andrew say this time? Uh-oh.
Well, yes, to be fair, they got picked off because they are a trio who does not talk to anybody. But I think that if the alliance was even spread out, then that would have been even more dangerous.
So
Yeah,
you would
Natalia
take
redemption. Natalia ruled. I like talking to
you,
her a lot.
Natalia, Eric. Would you still take Dane? Would you be on the Dane train?
For the Dane train be rolling through the station.
Yeah, okay. Also, looking back on it, I'm like, I was so fake to Dane. I think I was like the fakest to him, actually. Like, because him and I knew each other from a different
Your
like
business
club,
team.
and so we were like, oh, we have that, you know. But
You
I
guys
was
played
like,
Smash together too?
no, I wasn't that cool. But yeah, I was like, yeah, Dane, you know, you're my boy. But also, I was like, if he's the easy vote, like, okay, bye.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know, because Dane, Eric, and I worked all together, and like that was I think like Dane and Eric are both just like really good players, and both like have their own vision. And I think they're like, you know, heads kind of bangs over that. But I think Natalia's cool. I would see her around campus, and you know, she's like we're friends on Facebook, like but I wouldn't say like, this is weird. I wonder how Teresa's game would have panned out if she got to play more.
I think it would have been hilarious. I would have been for it.
I know. I think it could have been savage, but
Teresa, who could not even process who would have voted for her.
Right.
I love that so much. Well, and the other side of it is, have you guys been talking post now that the season is airing? And I know you mentioned a little, and some people are being not very nice online. But are you guys sort of reuniting through it all and getting to relive some of the drama?
Yeah, it's definitely really goofy. I just text like Anders like directly, and I'm like, like, why did this happen? Like, I'm so sorry you had to like sit through this. With Abby, it's really funny. You know, we're just like reliving it up. And then with the boys, yeah, I did talk to them. I think like Tim reached out to me and was like, Dale Aram, like, I'm so sorry if I talked bad about your game. You played a great game. Like, no hard feelings. I was like, oh, Tim, like, thank you. Like, no offense was taken. It's a game. Like, it's chill. So it was good vibes. Yeah, I had the same convo with Santi Doug. Like, we're homies. Like, since the game, I hung out with Santi and Doug a bunch.
Nice.
Did you go to Europe with all of them? Like, apparently they all did.
No, I didn't find myself in Europe, y'all. But no, like, it's because they all graduated like a year earlier than me, so you know we like hung out over break. But Santi is in California, and I just hit him up that your girl is gonna move out there. I don't think Anders knows this yet. Anders, hi, I'm moving to Cali too. So yeah, like there's some homies. I like them.
When my experience with Survivor is, I've learned a lot about myself from the game and playing it, and just because the game is surprisingly emotional and stressful. And do you feel like you have any takeaways about yourself that you come out of this game from?
For sure. I went into the season, my interview, I don't even want to watch it, but it's probably like, I love everyone and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But then, yeah, I learned to like not let people step all over me, you know, and like clearly at a certain point in the game, I was like, yo, you are not like, your actions don't match your words, and like you're telling me one thing when you're doing another. So I just kind of called people out, and that semester and like that point in my life, I think I just became more confident in being like, you're not allowed to do this. Like, I don't like this. I don't like that. And just letting people know how it is. I really, really appreciate that. I like texted Anders, like, thank you for like this character development for me. And yeah, I think another big takeaway is like never take anything seriously. Nothing is deep, not just like Survivor, but just like that's what my dad says every time. Okay, that's
Pure nihilism. Yeah.
I know. My dad is huge. But I'd be out here like, Dad, I'm so sad about like blah blah, like school or the future. And he'd be like, yo, none of this matters. And I'd be like, true, my anxiety is gone now. Thanks, Dad. So
I'm here.
I don't know. It feeds in a little bit to that.
Well, is there a part of you that would ever play, like, I guess not Survivor Maryland again, it's been so long, would play like another one of these games again, or try and play Survivor again?
True.
And Andrew says a great point, which is that you, well, it's a backhanded compliment here. You didn't get in the game because you're a good player, but you're fun as hell and had a lot of personality, which I think is one of the saving graces of this finale, is getting to see you basically look at them and say, you're all trash. Here's why.
Thanks, y'all. This summer I did play, I think like JS, if y'all know who that is, he organized a little like a Survivor thing. It wasn't the at core one, it was like right before that, but it was the same vibe. That was fun. I got heated again. I got a little mean for no reason. Like, I just realized I don't think I'm a competitive person in life. I'm just kind of like chilling. But then sometimes with Survivor, I just get so heated.
You let it out.
Y'all feel the same way? Like,
yeah, I've had
ugly. I don't like it.
I think it's just like when you're in real life, you don't get a chance to be, if you don't, like, I don't do fucking sports or anything like that. So like, I don't have any chance to be competitive. But then when it's like, oh, someone's coming for my neck, you know that in Survivor, you have the ability to be like, get the fuck out of here. Like, so it's the one time that you can really sort of defend yourself and say like, well, there's not really any consequences. We all knew what we were about to play. I literally got asked to play a game tonight, and I was like, I cannot.
So true.
Yes, and so I great point, which is you weren't allowed to play dessert. Your social game was too good. It would have just like everybody would have quit on week 2, and Anders wouldn't have had a season. So it's not fair.
Y'all are too sweet. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome, Steven. Anything else to add before we wrap up what we said would be a half-hour interview?
I think that's all for me. You really brought the fire in the finale, and it made it much better because like Anders is proud, but it was a bit of a dark finale, but dark is good sometimes.
Thanks, y'all.
It's like we have a lot, this year has been way too positive, so at least we've had a little bit of negativity.
Bring us back on the earth.
Ground us all very deeply. Awesome. Well, Dale Aram, thank you for your time. Thank you for sending me a DM on Twitter. And I'll just say that any Survivor Maryland player who follows me on Twitter, I will be in the YouTube comments standing incredibly hard. Next season will be Mike right now, but if anybody else wants to follow me, I am. My allyship can be bought. That's all I'll say.
Royalties for sale, people.
Yo, thank you so much for having me. This was fun, and I feel like I didn't do a good job of. I was like so zoned out during the finale with the other boys. Last week with Anders, I had like 6 hours of class or something, and I was like, y'all are idiots. But I feel like this could have, done myself some service. I don't know. This is fun.
Awesome. Well, we'll hopefully have some more recaps. We have to schedule, so look out for those. I don't know. It's Christmas. I don't know. Like, look, we got shit to do. All right, guys. And Dale Aram, thank you for joining us. Anders, thanks for being you in the comments. And Swally and everyone who's watching. Good night and good luck with the rest of your lives. Happy New Year.